I often get asked which national park that you visited would you want to go back to the most? And our family's answer to that is Mount Rainier National Park. So in this video, we're going to take a trip there. In part one, we're going to kind of get the lay of the land with Google Earth. And then after that, we're going to shift into looking at some video and photos of our visit and some of our hikes. And then in the final part, I've got a little surprise that happened to us that has come into our life that has to do with Mount Rainier National Park. So let's jump in. We'll start by using Google Earth to get oriented. And then I want to show you a tip, a little trick with using Google Earth. It's not on Google Maps, but it's on Google Earth. So Mount Rainier National Park is in the Pacific Northwest. You can see where it's really green up in here along the coast. And if we zoom in, you'll see it's in the state of Washington. It's just south. You see these different mountains and mountain ranges. The Olympics over here. But Mount Rainier is just southeast of the city of Seattle. And it's like a big circle, kind of this dark green area, the border of the park. We don't have that on right now, but it's kind of that dark green area around the base of the mountain. And then a lot of this out in here, up in here, you can see where these clear cuts are in the national forest. This is national forest land. That's considered a national resource that we, will go in as a country, logging companies will, and we'll be able to clear cut, and then they have to replenish that at the plant, and then we see that reforested over the years. And we'll actually talk about that in just a moment. So the different parts of the park, Paradise is down here to the south, and then Sunrise, we'll check that out here up to the northwest. This is the least visited part of the park, the northwest. I'm sorry, Sunrise is in the northeast, and then the Moach area is over down in here. It's probably an oversimplification. There's a lot more unique areas of the park, but that gives you kind of a basic layout. Now, here's that cool tool, and that is this button up here. It's a history button, and it gives you historical photos, satellite imagery and aerial imagery over the years, so you can see how the land has changed. And we're going to go back to 1984. You can go back further with aerial photos for especially urban areas. Like if you go to Denver, you can see stuff, I think, from the 40s using this. My neighbor told me about it. It's the coolest tool. So I'd like you to watch, and these are snapshots always taken in December. At the end of the year, you'll see that the snowpack changes a little bit, but you're also going to see some of like the national forest areas being logged, and then they are replanted, and then you'll see them turn green again as they grow over the years. So especially this area right over in here, a lot of it has been clear cut by 2005, and then you'll start to see it get a bit green again. So this is a really fun tool to play with and just see how areas have changed. So with our kind of little photo adventure we're going into now, we're going to start off in Paradise, and then we're going to go all the way up into the Sunrise area, and then the final kind of hike we go on is called the Natchez Peak area, and that's going to be kind of to the east of Sunrise. So let's jump in. We started out in the Seattle area, and this just gives you a great idea of the scale of the mountain and what it would look like to look south to Mount Rainier. And the mountain, just as you get closer, you just get a sense of how absolutely enormous it is. We have so many pictures of just the mountain because it seems like every degree different as you travel. It just appears it looks so different and so beautiful. There are waterfalls everywhere, especially on this drive up to Paradise and during our time at Paradise. So I want to draw your attention to something cool that happens on Mount Rainier almost, it seems like every day, but these high type of cirrus clouds form, sometimes these UFO clouds, they're called lenticular clouds. And you can see one forming over the top of Mount Rainier right there. And that's from the moist air coming over the ocean and hitting the mountain and then kind of cresting over. So this is our first hike that we did in the Paradise area. You go through these wildflower meadows, a lot of just forests. And as you get closer to the mountain, you start to see the different glaciers, and you can look way off in the distance. In some places, you can see places like Mount St. Helens and Mount Baker, and some of the Cascades other mountains that ranges that are near Mount Rainier. As you get up higher, of course, you come out of these wildflower areas. This is one of our favorite types of wildflowers, Indian paintbrush, and it was like a magenta kind. I don't know if we had seen that color before, but it gets more rocky. You start to feel like you're on Mars, and there are different little lakes and streams, and it seems like every step is just a new, breathtaking vista when you're up there. That gives you a sense of scale, having, Zion standing there. Here's us hiking back. Just absolutely beautiful place to be. So now we're going to shift to sunrise. This is on the north side of the mountain. We're at sunrise near the visitor center, and we're looking out down into that White River Valley and then over to the mountain. There used to be ice caves down in there in that White River Valley area at the base of the glacier. I think it's like where you see that stream coming out, and those have all melted off. But I guess it was quite the place to visit a long time ago, so a few decades ago. So I guess not too long ago. And then this is kind of the last area that we visited. This is the Natchez Peak area. So I believe this is right on the border of the park, but definitely I would say one of the best hikes in the Mount Rainier area and really close to the park. Okay. It's part 3 and the final part of the video. This occurred right when we got back from our trip, so we're at home, and you'll notice that my wife has a bundle in her arms. She and I went out for a short hike, and we heard the distressed sounds of what turned out to be a kitten that someone had dropped off by the side of the road. And he was in pretty bad shape. It'd been like 96 degrees that day, and we brought him in, took care of him. We were going to rehome him. We kept him, and we named him Rainier. That's why he's showing up at the end of this video. He grew to be, now he's bigger than that. He's like 14 and a half pounds. And I'm not a big cat guy, but, well, I guess now maybe I am. We just love Rainier. He's so much fun. Here's some of his fighting moves, because he likes to play with Blue, our dog. Thanks so much for joining me on this trip to Mount Rainier National Park, and I look forward to seeing you guys again in the next video.